an early live. I was not live yesterday. I did not feel well yesterday. So yeah, this girl, and I still don't feel all the way great, if I'm being honest. So let me see if I can. It's overcast here. So let me see if I can't get some light in the place. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, everybody. How are you, Sarah? Maybe I can, maybe I can't. Let's see what we got going here. Ooh, I almost knocked over all of those. That would have been horrible. All right, so let's see if I can swing this around here. Hello, everybody. Give me a second. I'm moving light around just because. What's up, Denise? Good morning. How are you? Hello, David. Hello, Winn-Dixie. Hello, everybody. If you are on the Book of Faces or the Tube of You, please make sure that you speak so I can see you and greet you. Good morning, Farah. Good morning, Tina Noel and Lisa and Faith and Alice and Katzmandu and Penny GF. And hello, Jen. Yes, and I am still very nauseous. I don't know why. Maybe it's the light that's coming in here. I look almost like totally pale on TikTok. Hey, Sarah. Hey, Auntie Tinker. I have no idea what is going on, but it is okay. It is okay, right? Sure, it'll be just fine. Morning, Freeman. How are you? How are you? Hello, are you? What's up, everybody? If I didn't speak, it's because I was moving the light around, trying to attempt to help. With the lighting. Thanks, Blue Honey Pot. Yeah, I'm still slightly nauseous this morning. Don't really know what hit me yesterday afternoon, but it was not my friend. Let me just tell you that. It was not my friend. Let me take a look and let me see if I can drop this down a little bit and see if that helps at all. It may not, but we're just going to go from there and rock with it. How about that? Yeah, Sandy, it was all you. It was your fault. So I thought that we would talk a little bit today about I don't know if you all saw the news just now, but the Wisconsin Supreme Court struck down the 176-year-old AB ban. Good morning, Scott. Good morning, Cam. Good morning, DJ. What's up, Kat? Hello, Dirty Bad vloggers. How is everybody? Hey, Brandy. What's up, John? Still a little queasy, but we shall see, right? We shall see. I really don't know. It hit actually before I got on my one-on-one with Sandy, and then it just got a little bit worse. And not to be graphic, but like when you feel you're going to throw up and your mouth just waters a lot. Yeah, I had all kinds of that going on and like the wrenching and whatever. So I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't know. So it just is going to be what it is. Yeah, this TikTok lighting is really, really weird. Of course, it could be me, but I doubt it. Yeah, no, it ain't me. Could be emotional. I don't know if that was the case. But listen, I'd be throwing up every day. I mean, let me just tell you, if it was all emotional, I'd be throwing up every day, right? So I just want to say that. So I do want to talk about the One Big Barbaric Bill and what is next. What's up, Amy? Hey, Dax. Hello. I think I said hi to Auntie Tinker. Yeah, right. So I do want to talk about, kind of what's next with this bill. Yeah. So the Wisconsin Supreme Court struck down the 176-year-old AB ban. So in the state of Wisconsin, that AB ban had been in place for 176 years, and their Supreme Court just struck it down. So there is no longer an AB ban in the state of Wisconsin, thanks to their Supreme Court. So that's definitely a win as we start the day. So I was pretty like, yay, thank God, some good news. Yep. And so that was my whole opinion as well, right? There's always, listen, guys, we have to find the wins wherever we can find them, no matter how small they might be, no matter, what they might be about. We have to find them when we can find them, right? Yeah, baby. Huh? Good morning. And so that's Mila Cake. She's just waking up. And so, yes, I was pretty excited about that. I do want to talk about it this morning and share some other things with you guys because we are talking about this Wisconsin striking down the AB ban. I'm not sure if this is going to make its way to the troll side of the world or not. If it does, I apologize in advance, and appreciate the work that moderators are going to do in advance, because y'all know how it can be, right? So I want to start with the One Big Barbaric Bill. Let me ask you this. So if you are new to me, please go ahead and put a 1 in the comments so that I know. No, Lisa, actually, I already cooked. The worst case scenario is that I'll have to bring somebody up long enough for me to fix her a plate. So I went ahead and cooked. So I made bacon and cheesy eggs and pancakes and some fresh strawberries for breakfast. So when she's ready to eat, I'll just get up and make her a plate and she's good to go. I just finished cooking before I went live. Trying to kind of head things off at the pass. Good morning, Carrie. What's up, Jamie? So I just wanted to kind of get them done. Do I DoorDash? Yeah. So let me just make sure that you all understand. Kim, you've lived in Wisconsin for 20 years. Yeah. So here's the thing with the House Reconciliation Bill. One of the biggest things that I think they're going to run into an issue with, good morning, Mary Esther, is because, the House kept the state, the provider taxes with Medicaid. Yeah, no, they're fine, Christine. What, baby? Oh, yeah. Huh? Look over there under the pillows, because she had them last night. Good morning, Yvette. Good morning, Shane. And so, okay, so let's talk. So, the House bill was different than what the Senate ended up putting forth. And so, yeah, Michelle, this is my backup. And so what's going to happen is that, it's going to go before the House. The House is going to vote on whether or not to consider the bill, like straight off the bat. Okay. But what's going to have to happen is that if you can expect something similar, I would imagine, in the House to what you saw happen in the Senate. I think you're going to see Democrats push for a full reading of the bill. I think you're going to see the House Democrats, kind of drag it out where they are voting on individual amendments on the bill. And then I also think, hey, good morning, Wilma. Good morning, Sandra. Good morning, Natalie. And then I think you're also going to see any changes that the House makes to this bill. Remember that it will have to go back to the Senate if that's a thing, right? So if they make any changes to this bill on the House side of the world, then it has to go back to, yeah, I mean, I know all the Dems are going to vote no. That much I'm not concerned about on the House side of the world, right? But good morning, Cassie. And so that's what's going to happen. And so, yeah, Michelle, it was the girl that came up the other day using a lot of foul language. I've got a ticket into TikTok. It's just still open. And so one of two things will happen. If TikTok answers my ticket and my other account is back up and running. Good morning, Ella Robinson. Then we'll move back over to that account. To be honest, I need to build the backup account up anyway, right? So, it is what it is. But number two, I'll be back on the other account on Sunday. It's already Wednesday. So we'll just see what happens, right? Good morning, Dummy Nerd. So let me go ahead and I want us to stay focused, okay? And this stuff with Elon Musk. I think he doth protest too much, to be quite frank. I think that this rhetoric between Trump and Elon Musk and concerns over this bill and these guys going back and forth and, every primary will be challenged if it's the last thing I do. And then it's, I'm going to look into Elon Musk's naturalization. I really don't care about those two. I literally don't care about those two gentlemen. And so I think that that's like really important for people to understand is that, yeah, I mean, but he's talking about the alternative party. He's talking about, yeah, babe. Okay, well then look over there and see if it fell on the other side, sis. It's over there. Look in between the cushions, you guys. It's there. And so, so here's my thing. I don't care whether Elon Musk says he's going to spend a ton of money to combat every primary next year or not. I don't care. Huh? Yeah. I think she was over here when she fell asleep, Mila. Bella. She was over here on this side. Hold on, guys. I'm drinking water. So yeah, so like I'm really not concerned about the Trump and Musk back and forth, and Trump talking about looking at Elon Musk's naturalization, and and it being revoked and all the things. What? Okay. Can I get someone to just join the panel real quick so I can help Mila and Bella out for just a second? That way I can take care of them really quick and then keep it moving. Dr. Emmy, I saw that you sent me a message. I was not feeling well yesterday afternoon. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, to be honest. Thanks, Red Hot. Guys, I'll be right back. Give me just a second, okay? Give me just a second. I need to help the girls.
Good morning, everybody. I know I'm normally not on here, but I didn't, her regular people probably aren't here. But anyways, continue to tap the screen. If you haven't done your heart rate today, go ahead and do that up by Dani's face where where it shows how many taps we have up there. It's just a penny a day. It helps with the algorithm and everything with the live. Hi, y'all. Sorry, I have a little cold too, so I'm sounding pretty crazy. I hope everybody's doing well. Try not to stay too nervous. I'm glad Dani's here to calm us all down every day because she does that for me. Because I'm always a basket case until I see her come on. So I know I'm not alone in that, but just continue to do everything to help her out. Also, I don't think her payment stuff is on here. Usually she has it on here to pay her directly if you wanted to help out because she does do a lot of work for us as far as printing stuff out, etc. But other than that, I hope y'all have a great day, and I'm running out of things to say because I normally don't do this.
I appreciate you. Thanks, Red Hot.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Yeah. So, girls, you're going to have to look because I don't know where you put it. Mila. Bella, did you have it while Mila was asleep? Just lift the seats up, honey, and see if you see them. I don't know. Okay. Thanks, Marnie. Okay. So, yeah. So let me just say this. Dr. Amy, tell me about that because I just don't know that's included in there. Because I think if it were, the Senate parliamentarian would have struck it down. So, and I think we would have heard something about it, right? Yeah, Red did great, right? So I think that I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that. So let me just see. No. Give me a second. I'm checking just to be sure. Whew. Good morning, Lynn. Okay. So here's what they say. They're referring to the elimination, the ability for states to stop giving. I wish, God, I just wish they would write things better. This is not a backdoor AB ban, right? This is not listen, you can't say two things and have them, like, you can't say to people, listen, only 2 or 3% of all of Planned Parenthood services are ABs, and then say that by eliminating federal funding for Planned Parenthood, that it's a backdoor AB ban. Like, you can't say those two things at the same time. Am I making sense now? I think saying that isn't accurate and doesn't help. And so here's my thing. And by the way, it doesn't eliminate federal funding for Planned Parenthood. What it does is it allows states to withhold Medicaid for Planned Parenthood. That's my understanding of the bill. And so all of those things are horrible. And here's my thing. It's right here, sissy, on the counter. What are y'all doing? It's literally sitting right here. And so to me, the bill is bad enough. They don't have to make it sound worse than what it is, right? And so this is the part where I get really frustrated with folks. Hey, Rosalind. Good morning, Tim. So this is my understanding. So I just want to look at it again to make sure. Good morning, Jeremiah. Okay, so one allows states to withhold Medicaid for Planned Parenthood. All right, so yes, so this is what it does. I want everybody to hear me. It says that states can choose to withhold Medicaid funding from Planned Parenthood, even for non-AB services, right? That is not eliminating all federal funding from Planned Parenthood. And to represent it as such is misleading to the people. So Democrats, please do better. I need you to understand that the bill in and of itself is already concerning enough. There's enough legitimate reasons to be concerned about this bill. There's enough harm in this bill without making it sound worse than what it is. And I don't know why we do this, because it puts people in a state of panic, and that's not beneficial to where we need to go. So yesterday, I had the privilege of speaking with somebody who's running for Congress in Michigan. I interviewed them for my podcast. They won't be announcing for another week, so the episode won't go live until then. But part of the conversation that we were having yesterday is, what does the path forward look like for us? Hey, good morning, Siberia. Good morning, Deb. And so I think that the path forward looks like two things at the same time. I think that we have to be focused on community and ourselves, right? We have to be focused on, what things do get passed. How do we come together as communities on a local level, as a neighborhood level, on a city level, and support each other in the way that we need to make sure that everybody gets what they need, right? I think that is number one. Number two, there's a lot of tough conversations that need to be had, and they need to be had in a way that is firm, that calls a thing, that holds people, to account for their positions and why they feel the way they do. And it also gives people room and grace to change their positions. Yeah, I'm taking guests today. I don't know why it's not up there, but I am. Good morning, Jennifer. Good morning, Cindy. Good to see you guys over on the Ube of Two, the Tube of You. Yeah, it's still, let me just make sure that the settings are all there, because it should be. Hold on, guys. I'm just fixing one little thing with TikTok. Let me see. There we go. So now you guys can see it, but yeah. So am I making sense, folks, when I talk about this? So listen, this One Big Barbaric Bill does not on its face eliminate all federal funding for Planned Parenthood. What it does do is it has verbiage that allows states to withhold Medicaid from Planned Parenthood, right? And if they do that, it will be detrimental, because many of the people who use Planned Parenthood services absolutely need that, and they're covered by Medicaid. I want us to stop saying that people receive Medicaid. It's not a payment that you get. They are covered by Medicaid. It is their health insurance, right? And so I really want us to be talking about it in a way that is accurate and makes sense, because let me tell you what happens. The minute we misrepresent something to the smallest degree, there's going to be a Trump supporter. There's going to be an independent. There's going to be an unaffiliated that says, this is why I can't be aligned with the Democratic Party, because they blow things out of proportion and they're just as bad as the right. Like, this is why people feel the way they do. Good morning, Mom with Goals. This is why people, have the positions that they have, is you need to not be saying those types of things. And I don't even know. So Mastiff Mama, when we talk about we need a new party, I don't even know how that even comes about. And let me just say this, as much as I think that we need a different, as much as I believe that we need a different election system, here's what I don't believe. I don't believe I need any political party created by Elon Musk. Fuck that. No, thank you. I'm okay. Like, I'm not changing one devil for another. I'm not, like, there's nothing about that individual who makes me think that they would create something that would be beneficial for the people. This is the richest man in the world. He did not get to that position by looking out for everyone else. Right. So this idea of, and anybody that aligns with him, I don't have anything for. Right. Anything that aligns with anybody that aligns with Elon Musk is not my people. I just want to be clear about that, right? I just want to be clear about that. If you align yourself with Elon Musk, even under the guise of a new political party, you're not my people. My people are, it's really easy for me to know who my folks are. Number one, my folks love facts, no matter what side, right? No matter what side, my folks love facts. Number two, my folks are interested in connection and having conversations that might be tough, that might be uncomfortable, but that create Tiffany, this is my backup account, that create a place of understanding, even if we don't get to agreement, right? Yeah, so that's just about the vote that they're taking now in the House is about moving forward to debate about the bill. Right, we're not coming into it. Good morning, Conchita. We're not coming into it attempting to harm people. Now, if you aren't familiar, let me just go ahead and let you all know something. Hold on one second. I need to get this. All right. Good job. You guys are coloring. We love to see it. Yay. Are you helping her out, Big Sissy? I love that. You had to pick 3 markers. You couldn't see which one you were getting. So that's what the really. I got it. So I'll just tell you all this. I love art. I have very creative grandchildren. Dominic's creativity comes out a lot through digital art. He's very talented in digital art. And Bella, it's just, she loves to paint. She loves to color. She loves to do all the things. And, I love the fact that the girls could be choosing technology right now, and instead they are sitting on the couch and they are coloring. So like, it makes my heart feel all warm and fuzzy, right? So anyway, I love that for them. Oh, wow, Tara Love. I got you. So, yeah. So, here's my thing. The parties aren't the problem. Can I say this to you guys? Having different parties, that's not the problem. The problem are the people in the parties. And even if you create a new party, it's still going to be the same people in the party. It's not like we're creating new people to go vote. A party doesn't create new people to vote. Y'all get that, right? Thank you, Sandy. I just want you all to understand, I don't care. Listen, we keep looking for easy fixes because we don't want to do the work that's actually required to turn us around, which is addressing us as individuals and communities and neighborhoods and states, right? Do you hear me on that when I say this? I'm just saying. Blue Honey Pot, you had a question. Girl, I almost forgot you were sitting there because you was just so quiet.
No, I'm here. Never heard that before. I'm not normally quiet. I'm working on my circles.
Gotcha.
And I'm trying to stay in my circle.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been crying all morning. I can't stop thinking about these people that are going to suffer. I'm sad that there's even people in our government that would do that to fellow Americans or fellow human beings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not personally going to affect me, but
yeah, you're doing
my
great.
soul doesn't allow me to not care, I guess. And I don't, and so I need your help in how
yeah.
I don't get so
you're hyper focused. You're hyper focused right now.
Mm-hmm.
I need for everybody to understand something. Nothing has changed. The state of this country today is the same as it was before this bill passed the Senate. If you're all upset about the people that are going to be hurt, you're living in the future for something that hasn't happened yet. Right?
I know.
And so let me just tell you, y'all, this is the way that it works. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are depressed, you are living in the past, and you need to stay in the present moment. So I saw something the other day, and I forget the guy that I saw talking about it, but he talked about the 5 techniques. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? So he's talking about, so there's 5 things. So to remind yourself to get present in the moment, right? The first thing you do is you look at 5 things that you can see, right? So you take a look around you and you look at 5 things that you can see, right? So right now I can see my granddaughters. I can see Titan. I can see art that I'm working on. I can see you guys. I can see that I still haven't colored and done my hair, right? So that's 5 things that I can see. What are 4 things that I can hear? I can hear the girls talking in the background, right? I can even hear just that little shh that's back behind you, Blue Honey Pot, because of the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 with all the senses, right? So 4 things that I can hear. I can hear Mila on the paper as she's coloring, right? Those are things that I can hear. And then 3 is 3 things that you can, I'm sorry. It's 4 things that you can touch, 3 things that you can hear. Sorry, 4 things that you can touch. So 5 things you can see, 4 things that you can touch. So I can touch my hands. I can touch my rings. I can touch my heart. I can touch my clothes, right? And I can touch my water. And then 3 things that I can hear, I already gave them to you, right? I can hear the girls talking. I can hear the shh on the paper, and I can hear the little fuzz, the little white noise in your background. And then 2 is 2 things that you can smell, right? So I can smell the breakfast that I cooked for the girls this morning. I can smell both. I can smell pancakes and I can smell bacon, right? And then taste. And so I can taste the water that I'm drinking. That is one way to get very present in the moment. When I get anxious, when I start to get into this hyper focus and hyper fixated place on something that is negative, the thing that I ask myself, has anything actually changed in terms of safety right now?
Right.
And the answer is no. So again, I'm spending a lot of emotional currency on circle number 3. Yeah. And I could be taking that emotional currency and I could be putting it into circle number 2. Is there anybody that is listening, wherever you're listening from, that hasn't heard me talk about our circles? Anybody listening that doesn't know what I'm talking about when I talk about our circles? I love it. You're doing so great, sis. Did you get a book to color on too, so that you can lay your paper down? Yari, Vincia. Okay. So if you've never been with me, you might be used to creators that talk about politics and it's just to argue and it's just to debate and it's just to whatever, and no solutions come. That doesn't benefit us. So what we try to do in this space is absolutely take action that can help us and change things, both politically and personally, right? And at the same time, we've got to stay in the right frame of mind and in the right mental health and in the right, physical place in order to be able to do that work. You can't do the work if you're not taking care of you. So I'll show you what I mean. And there's variations of this across the internet. The emotional currency piece of that's mine. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to grab a piece of paper for those of y'all who aren't familiar. Like I said, there's variations of this. But the emotional currency part of it and the percentages, what was the count for see and touch? Okay, I got you. So it's 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can touch, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. All right, so let me show you guys. Oh, hopefully this is a good marker. All right, so the smallest circle that we have, and of course it's a shitty marker. Belle, can you hand me a marker from over there? Like literally, it's dying. Can you hand me a marker, sis? Like a good color one, like a blue or a something. You got one for me, love? Love it. Thank you, sis. Okay, so check it out. So in the center is circle number 1. All right. Circle number 1 is everything that you can control. So what are the things that you can control? You can control your outlook. You can control your attitude. You can control your words. You can control your thoughts. You can control, whether you procrastinate or how much research you do. Like the key is to understand is that the only thing that you can control is you, right? You can control what you do, what you say, all of those things. So control is you. So what is circle number 2? I'm going to show you. So circle number 2 is a little bit bigger and it's right here. Circle number 2. This is your circle of influence, right? So what are the ways and what can you influence? You could influence your family, your friends, your social media network. You can influence your representatives, your senators, your state legislators. You can influence the people in your neighborhood, your peers, your coworkers. You can influence your kids. You can influence your local media, your state media. There's lots of things that you can influence and lots of ways to use your influence, right? Yep, grandkids, exactly, Alice. And then circle number 3 is simply what I call everything else. Everything else. If you cannot control it, if you cannot influence it, right, then it falls into circle number 3. And what I find is that many people spend most of their time and most of their energy thinking and worrying about and talking about circle number 3. Things that they can't do. So they've reached a verdict in the Diddy trial, guys. Sorry, guys, that's breaking news and I do want to pay attention. But so listen, while I pull up the Diddy trial.
I want to know what happened to Diddy.
So yeah, the jury has reached a verdict. So give me a second. Yep. So just give me a second. Okay. So, but let me finish this really quick. Okay. When you say that was fast, Marsha, to me is because he guilty, like, but anyway, so here's the thing. So this is what I tell people to do. So what I tell people to do is to take a piece of paper and write down the top 5 things or the top 10 things that you've been thinking about, dealing with, spending most of your time and energy on in the last 24 hours. And then when you make a list of those 10 things, put either a 1, 2, or 3 beside them and see where you've been spending your emotional currency. Where have you been spending your focus? Is it on the everything else, or is it on the things that you can control and influence? Most people, it's out here. So what can you do? It's very simple, right? Just ask yourself when you start getting worked up about something, A, what am I thinking about? B, what circle does it fall into? And if you can't influence it, that's the first question is, can I control it? No. Can I influence it? Yeah, great. Now I have an actionable thought. I have an actionable item. I can do something. Yeah, I've got it pulled up, Jen. But I can do something, right? And it keeps you from just spinning your wheels and feeling helpless. Maybe that's when you write a letter to the editor, right? Maybe that's when you create a new yard sign and you put it in your yard. Maybe that's when you create a new infographic to hand out in your community. Maybe that's when you write a letter to your representatives or you call your senator. You know, there's lots of things that you can do. Maybe that's when you call your friends and say, hey, I want to do some new infographics. Are you guys game for going out with me this weekend and hanging them out at the park while people are outside with their kids, right?
Right.
That's what you can do. And so, good morning, Cheryl. So what it does is it takes you out of this place where you're just spinning your wheels, and it puts you in a place of, oh, I can actually do something. And that's what most people need, because people are feeling helpless, right? Because it seems so big. But the reality is, good morning, Eli. The reality is that focusing on the small things is how you take care of the big things. This is how we take care of the big problem. It's not by creating some big new brand new party, because the problem is still the same. Guess what the problem is going to be? The problem is still going to be misinformation and disinformation. The problem is still going to be gerrymandering, right? The problem is still going to be voter apathy, right? The problem is still going to be, you see what I'm saying? A new party is not the solution. The solution is us. The solution is us. And that is why people want to look at everything else, because taking a look at us isn't what most people want to do, because it's hard. You know, why I don't want to look and go, how am I contributing to the issue?
Right.
And that's really the question. How am I contributing to the issue? No, Laura, I wasn't. I got really nauseous and sick. I had a stomach ache yesterday afternoon. And so after my one-on-one with Sandy, I was like, I laid down and I was going to try to push it. But anytime I even took sips of things last night, I thought I was going to, worship the porcelain god, as we used to say. So you've been spending your energy in the wrongest. There you go. So see how great this is? This is the tool that is so easy, you all. And for me, it shifts everything. It shifts everything. Go ahead, Blue Honey Pot.
I was just going to say, like, my one thought right now could be in that circle, my circle.
Yeah.
I could buy a plane ticket and I could fly to Alaska and I could handle or say what I want to say to that person.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not, I mean, I'll end up in jail or something probably.
Well, but here's my question is, does that actually solve the issue?
Probably not.
No, that's a hard ass no. There's no probably there. That is a hard no.
She might snap back to reality. I don't know.
Well, she's done voted now.
I know, and that's why I want to go there. That's why I want to see her.
Listen, what we need to be doing is talking to, the folks in Alaska and saying, you need representation. Hey, MG Brock, you need representation that doesn't just talk as if they're going to stand up and speak truth to power, but that they're going to stick with it and be 10 toes down in it and be unmovable in it, right? That are going to stick to their guns. Because she's now talking about how bad the bill is, even though she voted for it. I don't want to hear that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to hear your spill after the fact. I voted yes, but it's terrible. It's just terrible.
I don't. To me, vote her out. I don't have, the jury has entered the courtroom, you guys, just so that you all know. Okay. We're going to do this kind of all together.
I'll be fine. I just needed to get it out.
Yeah. No, and it's fine. So let me also say this. I don't want you to discount your emotions either. because one of the things that I will say is that if I find myself very emotional about something that isn't happening right now in the moment, I have to ask myself, is this really about that? What's driving this thought process? What's driving this emotion? What am I actually scared of? What am I, you know what I'm saying? And so it's worth digging in and investigating kind of why you are where you are. And if there's other stuff too that may be going on that you might want to kind of take a look at. You know, whenever your emotions are doing something, it's always good to pay attention.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're exactly right.
Yeah, she flipped or it would not have passed. And they catered her all throughout the night. Just so y'all know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to find out what Alaska got. Because
well,
she knows other places are going to suffer.
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't even care what they got. I don't even care. Like, because at the end of the day, yep, she had her John McCain moment and she blew it. Sandra, you are correct. And this is, Vince, I know that they are undecided on the RICO. RICO's a hard charge, right? So that doesn't, so listen, and the things that they added in won't save rural hospitals. Not guilty on count one. Are you watching live? Can we watch it live?
Drop me, please. Trust me, I'll be fine, baby.
Okay, I got you. All right, appreciate you. I didn't think so. I didn't think that we could not guilty on count two. Oh, TMZ is live. Good Lord, TMZ. Of course they are. Guilty on count three. What's count three? I need you to tell me the names of them, girl. Not guilty on count four. This is the Diddy trial. Okay. This is me. Now I'm listening to a damn ad because y'all got me on TMZ of all places. Sweet baby Jesus. You're on NBC News? The places that we go just to get access. Ugh. This is not my place to be.
The racketeer who forced them into sex, the jury said no. It's a law. It's a prostitution case, which is a prostitution case.
Okay, I don't want to hear them argue. I mean, I know he's a lawyer and shit, but I don't want to. So they found him not guilty of racketeering and schmex trafficking. Those were the two not guilties so far. And I guess they're still deliberating other things. He was convicted of prostitution. But they still got going. 2 guilty, 3 not guilty. Okay. I guess I'll read about it when they're all done because this is just too much. All right. I want to, yeah, it is. So let me just tell you all something. Yesterday, y'all know me. I'm a little bit of a true crime girl. Okay. So yesterday, while I was not feeling well, I was laying here binging. Have you all seen Interrogation Raw or Raw Interrogation? You know what I'm talking about? That true crime show. So I was watching it yesterday, and one of the very last episode, the last episode of I think season 2 or something like that, was celebrity depositions and celebrity trials. And so I was watching yesterday, and they showed. Have you all heard about this this app called My Channel? So there was this great e-commerce app called My Channel. Kanye West stole it from these guys. They had a verbal contract. These guys built this entire system for Kanye, blah, 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 whatever. He stole it. They invested over $7 million building it specifically for him, dropped other clients. And then he stole it from them and then said they didn't have a deal and he wasn't paying them anything. So these guys sued him. And on the deposition, so yesterday, what they said is that this deposition had never been viewed publicly. It was a video deposition. It was done via Zoom. And I watched Kanye West like put on a mask and say, "Who do you think you are? You think you can do this to me? Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? I'm Kanye West. I'm the richest, whatever. And like just this, well, let me just tell y'all, it worked in the favor of the plaintiffs because since he was so belligerent during the deposition, they ended up getting an actual jury, and the jury got to see that tape, and so they got their money from Kanye, which I loved. But there is this thought process that we have become a country. I keep saying this. It's like people who go into politics who think that it's about changing things and making things happen. And then they get smacked in the head when some of their Congress people or some of their legislators that they had on this pedestal, they realize and they see where they've compromised, and they see them behind the scenes, and it's like, oh shit, this isn't exactly everything that I thought it was, right? And then in addition to that, it's the same thing as lawyers. A lot of people go into the legal profession thinking, I'm going to change the world and I'm going to save humanity and I'm going to do this. And then they go to work for one of these big firms and they figure out, oh shit, it's just about who can find the legal loophole in the law and get the best argument. You know what I mean? And people get deflated. Here's what I will say, and y'all will think, y'all know how I am. So I prefer, it's probably one of the reasons why I haven't done whatever. Even sitting in the political camp that I was at 2 weeks ago, listening to people talk about meeting some of their idols, so to speak, right? And seeing what they really were or what they really aren't. And that's why I tell people, don't put people on a pedestal. People are people. I have zero expectations of people. I have zero expectations of people because human beings are human beings and they will do what human beings do. I think that until someone demonstrates to you the level of integrity and the level of authenticity that they have, and even then, you don't want to get caught up too much in it, right? Take it for what it is, but give them room to also be whoever. Good morning, Malin. And so I just want you all to think about this. You know, the solutions that we need right now are about us. The solutions that we need right now are about us as individuals and peoples. We have to be talking to each other about the type of country that we desire to be living in so that we can figure out how we need to behave in order to create that. So listen, it's you have to figure out where you want to go and then work backwards. Do you hear me? Figure out where you want to go. Good morning, Doug. And then you have to work backwards. When you figure out what you want to create, then you know what you have to do and how you must be in order to make that thing happen. Right? And so I know that here's what I truly do believe, right? I truly do believe that human beings at our most basic level all want the same thing. I think we all want connection. I think we all want safety. I think we all want health. I think we all want, to provision. I think we all desire those things. And I think we desire it for most people. I don't believe that the majority of people wake up every day and go, oh, I want these people to starve. Are there some people that wake up and they're assholes? Sure. But we're not talking about those people. We're talking about the majority of us. There's always going to be the fringe. But right now we are highlighting the fringe and acting like the fringe is the main part, and it's not. And so we have to shift that thinking. And we have to understand that many people, because of our vulnerabilities, because of our fear of vulnerability, have put up these big walls, huge walls, people. And we don't even let ourselves in, much less anyone else. So listen, people will tell me this all the time. When people say, I just want to know why they did that. And I always chuckle when I hear that. Do you want to know why? Because most people don't know why they do the shit they do. How are they going to tell you? Most people don't know why they do the things they do. How can they tell you what they don't know about themselves? And they might know the surface reason, but they don't know what's underneath those surface reasons. Oh, thanks for the dragon. I appreciate that. For those of y'all who can't see, and I look really crazy, there's this really cool red dragon hat that they can gift me on TikTok. And when they gift it to me, and I open my mouth, fire breathes out, and it's really cute, and I really love it. So anyway, I'm a bit of a dragon girl too. I love dragons. For those of y'all who do not know, that's my mystical or mythical creatures are dragons and phoenixes. Those are my mystical things. Like, you can keep the unicorns and whatever, but give me a dragon like that, or give me a phoenix. And I love phoenix because they rise from the ashes. Khaleesi, yeah, y'all know her name is Dani, right? But I love phoenixes because they rise from the ashes. And I think that that is something that we all have the ability to do. We all have the ability to rise from the ashes. And someone, yeah, I love Game of Thrones. Yes, I do love Game of Thrones. Absolutely, give me a Jon Snow every day of the week. 100%. But anyway, so don't judge me now, like, because well, so Natalie, here's my thing. I don't know about people getting programmed from childhood or other sources. I do believe that we are impacted by our environment and by the people around us. I think that that's normal. I think that that's different than being programmed. Program speaks of something that's entirely different, where programming to me is almost cultish, right? And I don't believe that most people are cultish. I think that most people, so here's the thing. So I talk about this a lot. I think that most of us are born just right, Cheryl. Winter is coming. Yeah, because it is coming. Yeah, she did end up being the Phoenix. Somebody said, I loved Jean Grey from X-Men because she ended up being the Phoenix. She did. But so here's my thing. Let me say this. I think that and this is the scary part. The scary part is challenging what you were taught as a child to see if it still resonates with you, to see if it fits with you, to see if it is who you desire to be. Because if it is not, that means potentially disappointing the people in your life that you looked up to, maybe that raised you, that taught you, that led your mass, that gave you communion, that baptized you, all the things. And that can be very daunting. It's funny because, sometimes when you look at how we behave with our parents, in some way, some people still have very much child-parent relationships, even when they are adults. And for me, that's typically an indication that individual hasn't unpacked, the things from trauma to figure out the things from childhood to figure out what works for me and what doesn't. Hey, girls, Uncle Doug said hi. Hey, Bella, can you give her phone back? She wants it. Bella, you can't keep it. Hold on one second. Bella, when she wants her phone back, you give it back. Now, Mila, stop fake crying. Thank you. She wants it back. Give it back now. You don't like her trying to take it, but she takes it because you don't give it when she asks for it. 1 minute. All right, I'm back. Girls, Uncle Doug said hi. Yeah, it's like this. So let me tell you, it's a egg and thing. So here's what it is. Bella will take Mila's phone to help her and do something in a game. Then Mila will decide she wants it back because she wants to do it herself. And then Mila will go to reach for her own phone, and Bella doesn't want her to snatch it back. So then Mila's like, I want you to give me back my phone because it's my phone and I want it. And then Bella's like, I'm going to give it back to you, but only if you stop reaching for it. And Mila's like, well, I'm not going to stop reaching for it until you give it back. And so it's a chicken and the egg thing. So then I just have to walk over, snatch the damn phone and give it back. Good gosh. Oh, when does school go back? Exactly. And then Mila actually goes to, so Crystal, yeah, I'm live. I'm live on my backup account on TikTok. I'm building it up. So my backup account is Dani 8.8.8, Crystal. Yeah, I did, Edith. Appreciate it. What's up, Masani? So, all right. So anyway, when you find yourself getting wound up at this news, you've got to use your circles. You've got to use your circles, folks, and give yourself items that you can actually take action on, and give yourself a sense of some sort of power or some sort of contribution in what's going on, period. Right? Yeah, you're welcome, Crystal. No problem. So things that I want to share with you. So what you will notice on my main account, yeah, so Deb, I needed to build this one up anyway, but there was a woman that came on my panel the other day using a lot of vulgar language, and TikTok took it down. I have a ticket in, but it takes them a while, but I'll be back on my main account on Sunday, if not before that. So let me just say this to you all, okay? As we think about like everything that is going on right now, if you look at my main account 2 or 3 days ago, I put up a video, and it's me at first, and then it shows a clip of Trump, and then it's me again. TikTok took that video, and it's got like, I don't know, 17,000 views on it. Just ding, 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 ding. I did one yesterday, and it's just a clip from a live, and it's still sitting like under 1,000 views. This algorithm loves, they love the benefit of the Trump factor, right? And so I want you all to remember that it is extremely important that you interact twice as much with unifying TikToks than non-unifying TikToks. As much as you listen to the the gotcha moments and the clapbacks and all of those things, right? As much as that is there, you have to interact. Yeah, Ali, right? You have to interact with the positive things, with the accurate information things, with the actual things that are contributing to where we want to go, twice as much as you do everything else. We have to teach. If you don't like what the algorithm does, the algorithm is a reflection of us. The algorithm is a reflection of our society. So when we say the algorithm likes toxicity, that's because we engage with toxicity the most, right? So this is, again, the same way that people like to blame the parties instead of looking at the people, right? Is the same way that you have to look at social media and all of the things. Yeah. So Cheryl, my videos are fine. I don't get a lot of the toxicity stuff. I just don't. But I'm talking about overall, and as somebody who, has content and sees how it's shared by the algorithm itself, it tells you a lot about people. Right. So anyway, all right. So what we've got right now going on in the House is the House, I believe, is voting on whether or not to open up debate on the, yeah, Jeremiah, your algorithm is all love and facts. Love that. Right. So, and I know that about most of our folks, right? But it's amazing. There was a poll that was out the other day about how many people weren't even aware of this One Big Barbaric Bill. Holy crap, right? And it's crazy. Open debate. All right, let me see. Yeah, so we'll see. So 14. So Steve Calise says that the bill is right now in front of the House Rules Committee. The members are going through it. They're going to bring the rules first to the floor. When was this? Oh, this was yesterday. Tomorrow morning. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. I don't care what he says. Okay. All right. So this is what we want to know. This is what we want to talk about is, so what happens? What happens if this bill doesn't pass the House? Then it has to go through some more changes. Any changes that are made will then have to go back to the Senate, and we'll still be where we are, right? Yep, I love that, Lisa. Appreciate it. So that's kind of where we are with the One Big Beautiful Bill, the One Big Barbaric Bill. Here's what I do want to say. That is a win. And it's something that I really do want to talk about, right? Is the fact that the Wisconsin Supreme Court struck down a 176-year-old ban on AB in that state. That is a huge win for the people of Wisconsin. It is a huge win for women in the state of Wisconsin. And it'll be interesting to see what their existing AB law is. And so let me see if I can take a look at that. AB is the ending of a pregnancy. Hold on, folks. Sorry. Yeah, I talked about that earlier today. So let's see. So AB is now it'll go back to it'll go back to what we had in most of our states before. Hey, Jen, good morning. Which is you could have AB up to a certain number of weeks, right? So in Wisconsin, that number is 20 weeks. Okay, so that number is 20 weeks, which I don't know that a lot of people are aware of this, but prior to the Dobbs decision, 43 states in our country had laws that governed AB, and the majority of them restricted AB past like once you got to the term of viability. Hey, Felix, good to see you this morning, right? And so it's really important for us to remember that when they talk about sending these things back to the states, they were already with the states. The states already had their own individual laws. And they've actually done the opposite, because there are 43 states that don't have a mechanism to put AB on the ballot for a vote unless your legislature does it. And you might not think that that's a problem, but it is. So when you have a state where your legislature doesn't want to do the will of the people, like Arizona, like Missouri, then what you can have is you can have a state legislature that doesn't want to put it on the ballot. And if you are in Tennessee, or if you are in Florida, or if you are in Texas, you don't have the ability as a citizen to put AB on the ballot for a state vote, right? And so that can be a problem, because now the will of the people can't be done. It's not given back to the actual states. It's given back to a GOP legislature. And that truly does matter when we look at the long term of things. So I want to talk about everyone's thoughts about where we're going, because I think this is a big deal. I think this is going to have yeah, I think that this is going to, right, Jeremiah, like Missouri. I think that this decision is going to potentially fuel court cases in other states that would like to maybe get rid of the bans that they have. So you got to remember, whatever the Wisconsin Supreme Court used to overturn this 176-year-old ban on AB, that justification for that ruling, that legal argument, will most likely be reviewed by other lawyers, other organizations, other human rights organizations, other reproductive rights organizations, to look at the potential of reframing other court cases to challenge other state bans and AB in other states. Does that make sense? Right, Audra, to follow suit. So From My Corner says, in Missouri, we will vote on it again, but they are adding gender affirming care being denied. Well, this is what's funny for me. So I want men to understand that when you want to deny gender affirming care, that means when your pencil no longer gets sharp, you're just stuck with an eraser because you don't get gender affirming care. You can have a pencil that just won't write anymore. I just want you to understand, when your moobs get bigger than your woman's breasts, right? When that happens, you just spit out your coffee. I'm just saying, when your moobs, your man, right? When your moobs get bigger than your partner's breasts, I don't want to hear about it when you want gender affirming care, right? And you want more testosterone or you want less estrogen. No, buy a bra and be happy. Celebrate who you are. Embrace every ounce of who you are, including your femininity, men. No, when you say gender affirming care, it can't be specific. So this is the thing. So this is what I want people to understand. Unless they are, listen, you can say laws cannot specifically say for trans people. That would be discriminatory and it would violate civil rights. Okay, I need for people to understand this. You cannot write a law that says we are only banning gender affirming care for trans kids, because that is discriminatory and that is a civil rights violation, and you will have your ass before the Supreme Court just like that. Right? Just like that. So when you write a law that you intend to harm trans kids, and that law says that you don't want anything to be gender affirming care, understand that that doesn't just impact trans kids. That impacts, for example, children with certain genetic disorders. And those genetic disorders require certain types of hormone care. That includes those individuals. That includes, listen, you start going bald at the age of 17, dude, listen, embrace it. Become Bruce Willis at the age of 16 and be proud of your manliness, right? Jason Statham has done it for a long time and he's still fine as hell. You all will be okay. You will be okay. Gender affirming care. If your partner has, he is, Lisa, he sure is. If your partner, gender affirming care is menopause care, 100%. Menopause care is gender affirming care. There's so many things. You don't like your wife's mustache? Too fucking bad. You don't like your wife's mustache? Too bad. Yes, it can affect birth control and all the things. Just saying. Right, exactly. Yeah. I just want people to understand the road that you're going down and the perhaps unintended consequences that happen because of it. Right? So if you are new to me, I want you to understand a couple of different things. Number one, do not be respectful. Be respectful when you come in here. Number two, do not use slurs of any kind. Number three, don't spam the comments, which means don't say the same thing over and over and over again. And number four, don't type in all caps because that's reserved for moderators and those that are vision impaired. Starlinks has been personally invited. I sent them a direct invitation. I doubt that they want to come up here and have any sort of conversation with me because I think they just like to be keyboard warriors and pop them lips off in the comments, right? Yeah, so I don't expect anything different from Starlinks at all. So they just are who they are. I see you guys talking to Felix, but I don't see him. I don't know why I can't see his comments. But it's okay. Yeah, I know. I saw the follower, Steffi G. I went and he said, hey. I said, hey, Felix. So again, let me just make sure that we understand, folks. So how many of you all know that what we have actually had an increase in infant mortality since the Dobbs decision was happened? No, Malin, I got sick and so I wasn't live. Nope, I was on the couch with a trash can beside me. Yeah, I'm okay. Still a little, but I'm okay. So do you all know that? Let me ask my folks that are everywhere. How many of you all are aware that, yeah, it wasn't Sandy. How many of you all are aware that we have had an increase in infant mortality since that? Since the Dobbs decision, we've had an increase in infant mortality. Does everybody understand why it is the way that it is? Okay, so let me show you. So we have had all right, so I looked this up. This was in October of last year. This was actually put out at the AJMC. Does everybody know what the AJMC is? That is the American Journal Medical. Hold on. I should be able to tell you, right? If I said, does everybody know what it is? Oh my Lord. Why can't I find what I want? Hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm pulling it up for you. There we go. Sorry, guys. The American Journal of Managed Care. That's who it is. Thank you, guys. You all got there when I got there. I don't know where my brain was, but okay. So let me just tell you. So this was published in October 25th of 2024. I'm going to share it over here on this side so you guys can see it. This, I believe, is already in the link tree, so you all should be able to find it there, but just so that you know. So key takeaways. Since the Dobbs decision is the decision that overturned Roe v. Wade with the Supreme Court of the United States. Since that time, we have had a 7% increase in overall infant mortality and a 10% increase among infants with congenital anomalies. So what does that mean? Okay, so let me explain to you all when we talk about infant mortality. When we talk about live births, if a child, if an infant unalives within the first year of life in live birth, then that's considered in the infant mortality numbers, right? So hold on, Cameron, I'll look. Whoops. All right, so I just want to bring this up. So, yeah, I just wanted to double check and make sure I was right, and I am. So it means more children are suffering. 100%, Cheryl, you are right. So listen, so AB restrictions are linked to more high-risk pregnancies that are being carried to term, which increases mortality rates. It's not just non-viable fetuses, Veronica. It's not just that. It means those that are high risk, those that may have congenital anomalies, all of those things actually being carried all the way to term. When we know, for example, that it's not going to live longer than a few hours, maybe a day, right? And what a lot of people don't understand is that when these things are typically discovered, you can't discover them until around like the 20, 21, 22 week mark. If Dr. Emmy's in here, you're more than welcome to join the panel if you want to. And so when they discover these things, they make choices at that time about whether or not they want to keep going and carry all the way to term. And part of those decisions are because at 20 weeks, there's a lot of discussion around how much of the neurological system is actually developed, and to what level or to what degree pain can be felt in utero at that stage of a pregnancy. Okay. And so what we know is that, no worries, Dr. Emmy, is that once they're born, we know they can feel pain. We know that they can feel pain. So you're actually inflicting pain on the fetus by forcing the mom to carry to term. Children that are born with congenital anomalies that, providers know are not going to make it. That's why you see that at 10%, whereas there's a 7% in overall infant mortality. So this is my question for the people who say that you are pro-life. I would love to understand what you think about the fact that AB bans and this Dobbs decision has actually led to an increase in the overall infant mortality rates. And get this, the rate for AB in this country hasn't gone down. Did you all know that? The Guttmacher Institute put out something the other day. So give me a second and I'm going to tell you. Yes, it has not gone down. It's had a slight increase, as a matter of fact. So I'm going to give you, there's two articles. One is from KFF Health News. The other is from the Guttmacher Institute, right? They are kind of the leading source when it comes to AB statistics, right? Jeremiah, I'm so sorry to hear that your brother passed at 13 months. So sorry to hear that. So let me just give you, there were 1,037,000 ABs that occurred in the formal healthcare system in 2023, which is the first full calendar year after the Dobbs decision happened. That is a rate of 15.9 ABs per 1,000 women of reproductive age and is an 11% increase since 2020. The increase demonstrates that people continue to seek and obtain AB care despite the drastic reduction in AB access in many states. Since the Dobbs decision, we've had 14 states have banned AB with limited exceptions. And in 7 additional states, which are Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Nebraska, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Utah, they have implemented laws that restrict AB access on the basis of gestational duration. And so, you know, if the gestational duration is 6 weeks, it's pretty much an effective ban, right? And this is lifelong trauma. Exactly, Amy. When you say the forced lifelong trauma is long-term trauma is cruel, exactly. Yeah, Mama Dukes, we talked about it. We mentioned it already, right? And this is important for people to understand, right? What we know is that having bans doesn't prevent people from seeking the health care that they and their physician have determined is in their best interest. It doesn't prevent people from doing that. It doesn't. Instead, what it does is it makes it more dangerous for the women who want to have children and are carrying them to term. And when you say, how is it making it more dangerous for those people? I'll share with you how. When you are a state that has an AB ban, a couple of things automatically happen, right? Number one, you've got OB providers that are like, I want out of this state. I want out of this state. I don't want to risk my license. Because a lot of the state uses language that isn't medically discernible, like it doesn't meet the medical level of what it needs to, right? And things change medically so quickly that that what you think is okay really isn't okay, because that situation can go from not being there to being there in a matter of seconds. And if the team isn't there, if the provider isn't there, if the necessary equipment isn't there, then it's dangerous, right? So what you have is OBGYNs that are saying, no, we want to leave these states, right? I don't know, Alex. I don't know. I don't know. Alex is asking, what does Vietnam have that we need? Trump announced a trade deal. Trump is announcing all kinds of trade deal. And to be honest, I don't believe anything he says until I see a deal on paper. Right? Right. Well, it's also, not only do they not want to get sued, but the cost of medical malpractice insurance for OB providers is going through the roof. I don't know if anybody has thought about this or not, but medical malpractice insurance for providers that are in states with significant restrictive AB laws or AB bans overall is through the roof. It makes it very hard for providers to be able to practice care the way that they need to, right? Because their expenses keep going higher and higher. Now, what does that mean? No, Guck, they didn't pass the bill. What they're doing right now is they're voting on whether or not to hear debates on the bill. Yep, they voted to proceed with debate on the bill. Nope, Psyop, I see you right now. I didn't see you before, but I see you right now. Right. So a couple of things. Yay, I'm glad your sofa's arrived and you're excited, John. So here's what you have. You have OB providers whose medical malpractice insurance is through the roofs. You have people that don't want to lose their medical licenses. You have high-risk physicians that, are significantly limited in being able to provide the care that they know their patients need. And I just want you all to understand something. If you're a high-risk OB provider, the whole reason that you exist is to protect women and babies. Yeah. Malin, I don't have you having requested up. Right? Thanks, Audra. Audra said hit share and then add to story to get more folks in here. Hey, what's up, Malin? What are your thoughts?
Well, not much. 1 second. Step outside. Sorry, dogs are sleeping.
No worries.
So, it was pretty obvious that once you ban AB, that you're going to get a huge increase in the infant mortality rate, specifically because a huge portion of ABs that do exist or did exist were because of genetic or developmental disorders that would not, after birth, or would cause unaliving. Okay.
Yes, Manda J. I have more than one account. This is my backup.
So obviously that creates a huge spike because now you have babies being born that could have. It sounds like inhumane to say what I'm saying, but yeah, that if the mothers were given the proper care during that time, they wouldn't have been born with these absolutely horrible diseases that cause unaliving.
Yeah. So here's what we know. So let me just say this: the number of the majority of ABs, I think it's around 93% of them all occur in the first trimester. Those are voluntary ABs, where many of them, the reason for the AB is not specified. And I think this is important for people to know. Because women don't have to tell you why they are getting it. And so it's not specified. So we don't know why 93% of ABs occur, because they occur in the first trimester, and they are voluntary, and people choose not to say what they're for. Sometimes it's financial, sometimes it's living conditions, sometimes it's different situations, right? So that's what we know. What we know is that since the Dobbs decision, we have had a 7% increase in overall infant mortality rates, and we have had a 10% increase when it comes to infants that have congenital anomalies. What you also have, like we were talking about before, is you have high risk pregnancies that are being carried to term that may not normally. So that is one of the reasons why you see an increase in these numbers. You also see an increase in these numbers because you've seen a decline in providers, an increase in maternal deserts, where people don't have access to maternity care. When you look at this country, it's over half of our counties don't have access to a hospital that has either OB care or a birthing center. So what does that do to people who want to have babies? It puts them in an unsafe situation because they want to have babies, but there are fewer providers. There's less prenatal care. There's less birthing friendly hospitals, right? Which, if you don't know what a birthing friendly hospital is, that is a hospital that meets specific conditions for a CMS designation that Vice President Kamala Harris got put forth during the Biden administration. Is there anybody that's not familiar with what I'm talking about? The birthing friendly designation. Malin, are you familiar with it?
I think so. I believe that Bellevue up here is one of them. Is one of the types of hospitals.
Yeah.
There is like a lot. They have a huge maternity ward and everything, and a lot of people request to go there.
Okay, so let me give me a second. Birthing friendly. Okay, so I'm reading right now from the CMS website. This is from November 8th of 2023. I don't know if this is still on the White House's website. If it is, those links are already in my link tree. But here's what it is. So the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare will begin displaying a birthing friendly designation icon on the Hospital Compare website. You all have seen me share with you the Hospital Compare website many, many times. This new designation identifies hospitals and health systems that participate in a statewide or national perinatal quality improvement collaboration program and that implement evidence-based care to improve maternal health. This was a designation that did not exist before. When you went to CMS to compare this hospital, you could not see if it was a birthing friendly hospital at all. The only thing that you could see is what percentage of their births were born 1 to 2 weeks early when medically unnecessary. But you didn't see why, you didn't see anything else, but you could see all kinds of things for, heart disease and strokes and heart attacks, heart failure, strokes, pneumonia, whatever. But there's actually an interactive map where you can now find a hospital or a health system that uses the birthing friendly designation. And so this was part of and this is the part that's in my link tree. Look at this. It's gone off the damn White House's website. Fuck them. I hate them so much.
You and me both.
Yeah, that's not cool. So I think I downloaded it somewhere. If I did, I will, I'll put it up on a Google Drive and replace the link. But there was a White House blueprint. It was an entire PDF to address the maternal health crisis in the country. And Vice President Harris had worked on this when she was a senator in Congress and couldn't get Congress to pass any of it. So when she was vice president, she did this initiative. And so she got this done. This is a milestone in the CMS Maternity Care Action Plan. It's incredible. You think you downloaded it? Great, Kat. If you did, let me know. I'm going to check to see if I did as well. I'm pretty sure that I did, but if I did, it's on my laptop and I'm on my desktop right now. So things that people don't know about are things like this. And these are things that I think that if we had spent a lot of time talking about them instead of talking about Trump, then we would be in a different place, right? But these are some of the things that happen when you have ABs, when you have AB bans and severe restrictions. So you have an increase in infant mortality rates, also maternal mortality rates. You also have an increase in maternal deserts and maternity care availability, OB care, and birthing centers in counties across the country, and that puts people at danger. So for those of you guys, do you guys want to see the stats? Let me pull this over so that TikTok can see it too. Okay, because I know that everybody else can. So I'm going to pull this down, and I'm going to turn my screen around just so that you guys can see. So do you see all the dark purple? That is the access. So what this means is if you look right up here where it says we have this is the entire United States, and this is whether or not you have access to a hospital with OB care or a birthing center. This is the total number of counties, 3,142. 1,775 of them in this country do not have access to a hospital with a birthing center or OB care. Low access means they only have one in their entire county. Wait a minute, you don't want bacon and pancakes, sissy? And so if you add those together, that's another 29%. So y'all do the math. 29 and 47, what is that? Did I say, I didn't mean 47, I meant 57. Yeah, you're talking 86%. 86% of this country either has one or no hospital in their county that has OB care or a birthing center. And this is the United States of America, the greatest nation in the world. Right?
That's insane.
Yeah. And so these are things that people just don't know. Yes, bring it to me and I'll open it for you. And so these are, you're laughing at her, Jeremiah. So this tool, by the way, if you're looking at this tool, this Deloitte March of Dimes tool, it is also in my link tree for you. You can look at it by state. So for example, Malin, if you wanted to look at Tennessee, you could go right here and Tennessee would pull up. Whoop. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. That was me. La, la, la. It's mad at me now. Thank God. Okay, I'm back. Hey, don't scream, please. All right, so I'm going to Tennessee. And this is what it looks like in Tennessee. So there are 95 counties in Tennessee. 71, thanks, Marnie. 71% of them, almost 72%, do not have access to a hospital that has OB care or a birthing center. How about that?
That's way too high.
So, Audra, this is a Deloitte March of Dimes website. They update this information within 2 months or so of getting the data, so that everyone knows. And this is in my link tree for people. I was discussing this with a member of Congress yesterday. But this is the place where we want to force women to have babies, right?
Right, of course. Of course. Seems like that's a perfect example of exactly what they want. Is they want to force everybody to do what they want them to do, and then also give them no access to treatment or care.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is what ends up happening in these situations, folks, is very simple. People unalive. This is what happens. And so that is why when I say things like the Supreme Court in Wisconsin, striking down their 176-year-old AB ban, and I say that that's a win, people are like, oh, so you're happy about unaliving babies? No, idiot. No, I'm happy, number one, about allowing a woman and her provider to make the necessary medical decisions for her care, because I trust a provider that went to school and for this type of care more than I trust a politician who doesn't know shit about a woman's body. Sometimes I'll joke, if you can't find the spot that has the letter G, I don't even want to hear you talk about anything. If you don't know the difference between my ovaries and my uterus, I don't want to hear you talking. If you don't know anything about anything, I just don't want to hear, and better yet, I still don't want to hear you talking, because you're not the person that is delivering. You are not the person that is pregnant. You are not the person who is having this conversation with their physician. Just for the record. Okay, so I want to take a break just for a second from this topic and give Malin a couple of minutes to introduce himself to the folks that are in Tennessee in District 21. And Mason, tell folks why you are running for the state legislature or in Tennessee for District 21.
I'm actually in New York.
Oh, why did I say Tennessee? Who am I talking?
Supposed to have somebody yesterday for Tennessee.
Yeah, I know you're in New York. Why is Tennessee? I'm from Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
I'm from Tennessee, but I know you're New York. Why in the world? I'm supposed to talk to somebody in Tennessee. The person I'm supposed to talk to in Tennessee is running against Andy Ogles, who I can't stand, who's a bigot and a horrible person. But anyway, all right. So it is District 21 in New York. Sorry about that, Mason. All right. So share with folks why you're running for office, and blame it on my stomach bug, Cam. Absolutely. Tell people why you're running for office and what's the deal with District 21.
All right. Fabric, relax. Okay. Sorry, I got it done.
That's okay.
So I decided to run mainly because obviously Kamala lost, and I was pretty irritated at the fact that so many Americans let America down.
Mm-hmm.
So I really decided then, but I've been thinking about it for a couple of years, really, because I've watched my district be taken over by this conservative ideology. And you see all these Trump flags everywhere, and everybody's like, yeah, I don't care what happens to you, just get these brown folks out of our counties. Like, what?
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I would say 2017, there was, I'm not sure if I could say, like Klan handing out pamphlets to people.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. They literally so I'm Hispanic myself, but I look a little bit on the Caucasian side occasionally.
Mhm.
Somebody handed me one while I was at a Stewart's, which is, if you're not from New York, it's just like a gas station.
Gotcha.
Somebody just handed one to me, and I'm like, what the hell do you think you're doing?
Yeah.
Definitely not as friendly. But yeah, that was like one of the moments where I was like, this is the type of stuff that this administration is going to involve in. And then once again, now he's reelected, and it's much worse than the first time
Mhm.
because now he's had 4 years to plan.
Yeah.
And the plan they did.
Yep. They've definitely, I mean, the plan has been in place for a long time. If you were going to tell people a little bit about kind of your platform, what are the issues that are most important to you, and what type of policies are you looking to address?
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I actually got sidetracked.
That's okay.
So my platform is education reform.
Okay.
Universal healthcare. And well, there's a lot of points to my platform. I've definitely overexpanded on that, but apparently people think 3 is too much for people. But
Who's people?
People that have been helping me with the campaign, they're like, just choose 3. Just choose 3.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. I was like, that's crazy. Voters can handle way more than that, but I personally believe that universal healthcare should be accessible to every single body. It's a right. I believe that education needs to be more focused on and more funding. I believe that there needs to be expansive social programs, especially with the administration being the way it is. Economic growth is very hard for the average American. Even though the median household income is $75,000, it costs twice that to sustain even a single family home.
yeah.
And that's insane. There's no working or living wage, and that needs to change for anybody to actually be successful and really live in America now. And that is my platform.
Gotcha. So when okay, so if you were talking about a livable wage and raising the federal minimum wage, what would be a dollar amount that that you would support and that you would be willing to work with other members of Congress on getting passed?
20 starting.
20 starting. Okay. And housing. I do want to ask you about housing. So so right now, hold on a second. I'm making notes. Okay. So what we know is that in housing, there used to be legislation in place that would prevent corporations from buying up homes, residential homes, unless they had been on the market for, I want to say, a year. And
Yeah, it was a year.
yeah, and then under the first Trump administration, that went away. And so, what are your thoughts on bringing back that additional, bringing back that legislation or creating something that's even stricter? What are your thoughts on that?
Right. I don't know if that decision can be overturned, but I do actually have like a housing crisis bill that I've been drafting, and that is part of it, is putting a cap on large area or large land purchases from corporations, like realty corporations and stuff like that, obviously specifically, but also making sure that homes that have been abandoned for a year, like automatically, instead of going to a bank, they go to a homeless either that or unhoused, right? Unhoused person, specifically veterans or families that do not have homes.
So so have you thought about how the implementation of that sort of program, because when I hear it, it sounds like a great thing, right? Because we want to take a house that's been abandoned. And the first thing that I question is when you say abandoned, because let's just say that I own my home and it's my second home and I'm not living there, but it's upkept. My property taxes are paid, my utilities are paid, but no one's living in it, right?
So as long as there's an owner, if there's an owner in that case, I'm not well versed in realty law, but
Gotcha.
But if there's an owner already and it's a second home, first of all, like I would say, if it's like a summer home, cool.
Yeah,
if
I
there's
just-
already an owner, then obviously you can't take that from under somebody's nose. But
Yeah, I just wonder. I think about the legality of the term abandon, and
Yeah.
and how that distinction would be made, and then what distinction is made. So, for example, if a home is abandoned, but it requires fixing, it requires repairs before anyone can reside in it. I wonder about the cost of that particular measure, and what happens when it's given to a particular organization, and nonprofits don't have the money to invest in that. Like, I just think about a lot of different things, and so that's something that I would like to see as you kind of cultivate what that plan looks like.
I do have more on that plan. So what I've written out so far is that there'd be federal funding for renovations and updates, making sure it's code enforced
Hey,
or
babe.
it meets up with code expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And that would come either from state, like in blue states, because we maintain our own GDPs. Like in New York State, we have a very high GDP. So that funding can be available for that. And there is like a budget for housing authorities already. So instead of spending it on building new tenement homes, why not put it into renovating these homes that have been like left alone and are borderline condemned? Make sure that everyone in the community can have their own homes, because there's so many different people that even around here. There's a gentleman I constantly see for the last 5 years. He's just been walking around, and I feel terrible every time I get him food or hand him a couple bucks. I still feel terrible that like he still has the same situation. So why not start at the bottom and fix that? There's many homes that don't have anybody living in there.
So I also think about not just homes, but for me, I think about hotels that have been abandoned, where you have a commercial property that the owner has just let go, that it's not being utilized. And I think about it is Edith. It says 65 out of 500. So I think about those types of things, because that is something that when you talk about not building tenant housing, when you talk about, not building tenant housing, and you think about apartment communities, I think that hotels are one that it's easily convertible into that sort of facility that could help address those types of things.
That's a really great idea. I don't think I thought about that at all, but now.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know what? I might integrate that right into the platform, because that's a beautiful idea.
Yeah, I think about hotels, and I think about the fact that there's already a laundry area there, right? In terms of being able to put in individual laundromat machines and those types of things. Those are just they're automatically built with separate doors and separate facilities, and putting in. I think about there's typically that area that's right beside the bathroom there, where you have the ability, your refrigerator, your little mini fridge is already there. I think that would be easily convertible into a, and actually a small little kitchenette area. And in New York, people are used to living in small places anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's, it's something that would be doable. I think that Manhattan was onto something when DeSantis and Abbott put a bunch of unauthorized immigrants out on the streets in January, right? And they made a contract with those hotels that had been run down since C-19 to give them housing for 28 days. That was actually a cheaper cost to the city that they actually saved money than their normal immigration process. And so that is something that I think, even though those contracts with those hotels have now ended in terms of immigration, those hotels still exist in the city, in those places. And there are still veterans and there are still unhoused people that could absolutely benefit from that same type of program. And I think about corporations, instead of passing legislation that gives them ridiculous ass tax cuts, why don't we give it to you if you're willing to use, your building that actually benefit the public? I think there's just ways that we can do that. So I can't wait to see the final version of your bill.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to get drafting on that more.
Okay.
I have like several different ones. I keep forgetting to start one on the opiate crisis that has taken over New York. Well, it's not really taken over; it's been here.
Yeah, watch the O word on TikTok.
Oh, can't say that, right?
No worries. Yeah. So I would love to hear your take on that. Like what you think when you look at drilling down on, on the party favor crisis. And people, when people say crisis, I always go, what do you think your solution? What do you think is the solution or a plan to start to address that?
So research shows that if you have a happier life, typically you'll avoid that, like party favors. And really, the government has made things incredibly difficult. So by increasing community strongholds and making things better around, and also focusing on mental health and things of that nature, scientifically speaking, eventually things like that will solve itself, really. There doesn't need to be like a Reagan style say no or dare program.
Right.
No. In fact, like coming from somebody who was in the dare program as a kid,
yeah,
it actually just gave us access to like the information that it was out there. So, but yeah, I think that we need to focus on building up our communities and making everyone's life, every average citizen's life, a little bit easier.
Yeah. Okay. So when I think about things like that, I think about, we know that poverty leads to crime. We know that poverty leads to the use of party favors and all of those things. So when I think about all the time, when I'm thinking about issues, I'm typically thinking of like at least a 2 or 3 pronged approach to address it. Right. Because you've got to address the immediate issue that exists. And then you also have to have something that is in place that is working towards what are the root causes of what's actually happening. And so I've heard a lot of people talk about universal income. What are your thoughts regarding universal income?
Like an average income, kind of like a full socialist.
No, like a universal income has been proposed as, I've seen some people propose it as just like every person in the country gets $1,000 a month into the. So do you remember when we had C-19 going and people were automatically getting that assistance? You saw things. I think it's one of the reasons why we were able to rebound and recover economically as fast as we did, is because we had economic stimulation going into individuals' lives and into their bank accounts. And therefore we were still purchasing and doing things. And so a lot of people have thought about, having a universal income of $1,000 a month going to all U.S. citizens, whether they are born or naturalized here, as a measure to just help them out and bridge that gap between their paychecks and so forth and so on. What are your thoughts around something like that?
So I think it would be very beneficial for everyone. I haven't even heard of that as a thought before, so now I feel kind of dumb for that. But
no. Blair Walsingham was running for Congress against Diana Harshbarger back in 2020, I want to say, and I interviewed her then, and I helped her out a lot when we talked about healthcare policy and things like that. And so that was one of the things that she and I talked about, was this universal income of like $1,000 a month per household. And I even think about a potential staggered system where $1,000 is the baseline for, a single adult with no dependents. And then I think the same way that we have staggered for the number of dependents and people living in the home, that number could go up to as much as $2,000 even, depending upon the number of people in the home. And so when you think about the average cost of a 2-bedroom apartment in this country, being at $2,000 damn dollars, and I know you're going, not in New York, I know, but
it's everywhere.
Yeah, but when I think about it across the board, and I think about a family of 4, where they do have to have a 2-bedroom, and if it's a boy and a girl, the 2-bedroom's not enough. They really need a 3-bedroom, right? And I think about the opportunity to have $1,500 a month, or $2,000 a month, and have that go towards that rent, and just knowing we are going to have a place to live.
Right, that right there, that.
Yeah.
Because that stress, like I grew up myself extremely unwealthy. So that struggle every day, making sure that we were working hard enough to earn every damn penny to make sure that we were not out on the street.
Yeah.
And that struggle right there, every American, or most Americans, know that struggle.
Mm-hmm.
If we could solve that would be a huge, huge relief to most people. Then you can focus on the other things that are already skyrocketing because of like all these potential tariffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, because food, like even food surety or being insured is not a thing right now. Most people don't know where the next meal is coming from.
So Shelley, no, it wouldn't raise. So when people say things like that, wouldn't something like that raise rent prices? Here's going to be the first question that I ask you. Are rent prices being raised anyway without it? The answer is yes. Right? Rent prices are being raised whether you get assistance or not, right? The second thing is,
there's no cap on it.
Right.
And there should be.
And so this is where we go back to, the ability to be able to, caps on rent, caps on increases in rent. Also being able to say, just like Vice President Harris was talking about, not being able to use algorithms to set the prices, and have basically these competing apartment complexes all kind of working together to ensure that, the rates are about the same. Doing those types of things, I think is really important.
I do agree with that, and I believe that we have like rental assistance programs here, but we do not have price caps. But like there's a lot of landlords out here that continuously raise rents, whether it's in these community living facilities, but also just like your average building, like your average apartment building, they still raise the rent every year.
Yep.
And then people end up not being able to afford that. Because they'll be like, oh yeah, we're just going to raise that by $200. Like it's nothing. Like it's crazy.
Yep, 100%. And here's my thing. So I know that you're running for Congress. Your district is District 21, right?
Yeah.
I saw somebody ask about that. And your last landlord, so Lucida says, my last landlord tried to raise my rent by 67%. That's just absolutely insane. So I think it really matters when we start to talk about, creating the type of country that we want to live in. And I think it's possible for us to do all of these things. I guess my concern is implementation and assuring. It's 21, Veronica. He's waiting on the FEC to change it. He's waiting on them to change it from 23 to 21. It's 21 now.
Yeah, I've requested several times now. I'm waiting. I already filled out the amendment form, but
yeah, no worries. I asked the same thing, Veronica, so no worries.
Yes, I have to keep asking. I actually just got invited to speak with all the other candidates for 23, and I was like, wait, guys, nope, that's not me.
Yeah, see, there you go. And so let me ask you this. And if you don't want to talk about it on live, that's absolutely fine. But What type of response, if any, are you seeing from the state and national Democratic Party?
Poor, very poor. Like I have ideas that are like in line with the likes of Dani, AOC, and Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
And because of that, I've been kind of pushed and cast aside by the Democratic Party locally.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one person from the Democratic caucus that has actually really been supportive of my ideas, and even he doesn't have much pull. So it's just like I can't really get any funding or assistance from them or endorsements, and that puts a huge damper on like getting my name out there and making sure that I have a chance to win this district,
Mm-hmm.
especially because it's Elise Stefanik's district, and she's an awful human being, but
yeah, definitely so.
Yeah, so that right there, I need the name recognition at least to get ahead of even Blake Gendabing, who is also running. He was running in the special election.
Okay.
But he was the original Democratic nominee for the special election. But since it was no longer a special election, he was removed as the Democratic nominee. So, that lack of response
Mm-hmm.
is really hurt the potential campaign.
So just a thought process, right? I think that the Democratic Party is, I don't think necessarily not being endorsed by the Democratic Party is a bad thing. Because, people have their views, and they're not doing much to change those views that people have, right? So here's what I would look for, right? I would look for the people in your area that have platforms that are platforms of influence that are middle of the road. And here's what I mean by that. People don't trust mainstream media, right? They also don't trust just the average Joe Blow that has 50 people, right? What I recommend is that you look for people locally and on socials who cover New York and New York issues, and promote yourself that way. If you haven't talked to the folks that are over at Sirius XM radio about potentially getting on, the Michael Signorelli show or the Dean Abadallah show or any of those shows, there are a lot of progressives that listen to Sirius XM, and you have an opportunity to be on there and to kind of have commentary. What I would say is map out exactly what your issues are. So I have this thing where I say that every issue that people deal with comes back to one of 4 policy pillars. I call them pillars of policy, which is right? It's channel 127, Donna Ski, I think. But it's either housing, it's either healthcare, education, housing, or economic mobility, right? And so what I would say is devise your policies based on those 4 pillars. You want to have 1 to 2 actual concrete plans that can be executed under each of those pillars, because then that information is easily digestible. I would put together like an infographic that clearly demonstrates that so that you have like your absolute talking points. And then be able to kind of go from there. So I would be looking at that. And then I would be looking for, social media, right? Who are the folks, around that can network and not just knock doors, but literally share within their, in their internet community and in their circles. Those would be the places that I would start.
Was that a question? That was a question.
Nope. That was just me sharing.
Okay.
That was just me sharing.
I don't know many people on social media besides TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, TikTok is one. But here's what I would say is some of the people that you need to reach are going to be, so the 2, but believe it or not, the 2 biggest platforms in terms of campaigns and movements is going to be TikTok and Facebook. From a campaign perspective, those are going to be the 2 that you're going to want to be on the most. Blue Sky, it's going to be your people already. If you have people that live in your district that are on Blue Sky, they're mostly going to be your people already, but you do need to be there so they can see you. Substack is something that you could 100% utilize to your advantage. So like right now I'm live on Substack, and the thing that I love about it is when I get done with my live, they email me done ready clips that are anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes long, that are captioned already, that have titles already, that are done. And imagine growing your email list where you're able to send that information out like a little, a snub at a time, and send it out to your entire email list and things like that. So I'm just offering things, since the Democratic Party hasn't wrapped their arms around you and embraced you.
Right. And if they didn't embrace Mom Dani, then they're probably not going to embrace me.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. So that would be my thing.
yeah.
Yeah. So what do the
It's
people...
actually-
What do the people in New York District 1, District 21 need to know about you as a potential member of Congress?
Not only am I not bought and paid for, and I never will be, because I have a moral compass, but I am a working person. I have been working since the age of 9, and I've tried my best to make every right decision not only just for me, but for everyone around me. And I want to do the same for everyone, not in just District 21, but also District 21, but in the nation.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you were, what are the issues that you think are kind of, so I heard you talk about education.
Yeah.
What are your plans around education?
To increase funding, not only for the arts, but also an outreach program, hopefully led by the DOE as it stands. Well, actually not as it stands because many reasons, but doing an outreach program that would ask the children what they would like to study, because when you ask somebody what they're interested in and they have an opportunity to study that,
Mm-hmm.
most likely they'll be more interested in education as a total. We have cut funding for the arts and sports, and now you have all these PTA people constantly fundraising.
Yeah.
And that's no way to live.
Right.
No way to live. And really, like, it shouldn't be an option for kids, whether or not like them getting a scholarship for playing ball or for being the best at trumpeteering.
Mm-hmm.
That is what will change their family dynamic. So, but having a focus on the arts has shown historically to make education better all around.
Yeah, I think that, the arts are not just great for kids as people who like to do art, right? But the arts overall, what we know is they are therapeutic. We know that the arts have an impact in terms of different types of skills that children develop when participating in the arts, right? Whether that as, hey, Audra, thanks for following me on Substack. I appreciate that. And so those are things that absolutely need to come back. If you were going to tell people your top 3 focuses, because we know that you can't get everything done in 1 year, right? In your first term, especially as a freshman in Congress, what would you tell people are your 3 top focuses for your, even though you might have a platform that addresses all of these things? If you were going to say, these are my 3 things that I believe are the greatest immediate need for New York's District 21, what would they be?
Sorry, I was on mute. Addressing the party favorite crisis is number 1. Education reform and management, and also PPU reform as well.
Got it. Okay.
Since there's a lot of unalivings, either by self or others in this state. So I would like to address that wholeheartedly.
Okay, I got it. So Malin, what I want to do is I'll touch base with you via email and set up a time for us to hop on a Zoom, and then we can do an actual interview, just you and I, for the podcast, if that works for you.
Yeah, that works perfectly. I actually didn't expect to be up here, so I didn't even go over my talking points or anything. So.
You are welcome to come back, so don't worry about it.
All right.
Cool. All right, I appreciate you. Have a great one.
You too. Thank you.
All right. So Yeah. So I think that, I want people to get out of the box of thinking, I need a particular endorsement. I need a particular whatever, right? That's playing the game of politics. Just be who you are. Here's what I know is that when you are authentic, when people know that you care about them, and that you are working to put together policies. Other things that I would do is if I am focused on education reform, I want to go have a sit down with teachers. I want to go have a sit down with people that are in education administration. I want to get interviews with them. I want to have cameras with them, right? I want to have conversations with them. And then I want to be able to use those in my campaign to talk about this is what they need, right? And I want to do the same with parents and with kids and all the things, right? If that's going to be my deal, then I need to have a full understanding of how that works, right? Yep, Dr. Emmy, frontline workers, talk to the people on the ground. And so, because when I think about education reform, I think about, the shortage that we have with teachers. I think about, the pay that we don't have for our teachers. So I think that we could be doing things to cultivate people to go into certain industries where we need help. The same way that we have given, millions of dollars to certain states for their nursing programs and to bring in so many nursing students. I tried, Lynn. I tried. Lynn said you just gave him the winning formula. I tried. Oh, I love that. You just added my podcast, The Dani Cook Show. I love that. Yep. The Dani Cook Show is the podcast. You got it. And so, those are the things. Go and find out how those things work. Look at current existing law. How old is that law? When was it passed? How did my opponent vote on that law, right? What has been the impact of it? Have we lost teachers? Do teachers that are currently employed know teachers that left the system because of a certain reason, because of a certain piece of legislation, or because of a certain curriculum and testing? Go talk to those teachers. If there's teachers that have left because of the rhetoric about teachers grooming children to be trans, go talk to those teachers. See if they'll be willing to have a sit down, have an interview, have a talk, even if they don't want to be on camera, right? There's all different types of things. No worries, coolest mom ever. That ways that you can go after these things in order to bring them to fruition, right? Yeah. So because we had somebody with a really, really filthy mouth, Dilgrave, the other day that got the other live taken down. I have a ticket into TikTok, but it takes them a while. So we're on the backup and building the backup at the same time, which I'm down for that. And so either TikTok will resolve that ticket and we'll go back to the main account by then, or if they don't, we'll be back on that account on Sunday. So Sunday, Saturday, whatever day. So either way, I'm good. Okay. Not worrying. All right. So, things that I want people to walk away from, us talking about and thinking about right now in this moment, is what do we need to be doing to move things forward, right? I think every single person should be talking to their state legislature about state laws that limit corporations from buying houses, residential houses in your state. We don't have to wait on a federal law, right? Why aren't states passing this law? Why aren't your states protecting you and your homes in your state? Why isn't that happening, right? Why isn't your state, instead of giving all of these damn tax breaks to bring in corporations, during those conversations, if we're going to talk about that, we need to make sure that our states aren't preventing corporations from unionizing. We need to make sure that states are ensuring that corporations that are getting tax incentive to come to your community are also paying a livable wage. There are things that we could be requiring on a state level that would also be beneficial to us. Okay. And so there's a way to do that. We've talked about this before, and I know I said I'm going to write the draft bill and I haven't yet, but y'all know what my life looks like. It's quite overwhelming. is I believe we need to be passing individual state laws that issue a free government ID when an individual turns 18, and that is the ID that is acceptable for voter registration, right? I don't think that people should have to pay $35 or $45 for a particular type of ID. It's a barrier to existing. Matter of fact, it's a barrier to proving you're a citizen in this country, right? So the same way that, we have other things that naturally occur, this should be one of them, right? I think when people in your state turn 18 years old, I think that they should automatically be enrolled in the voter registration rolls. Whether they vote or not is completely up to them. And I think they should automatically have a state ID that is issued to them at no charge. How do I know? Thanks, Rebecca. How do I know that these things are possible? Because they track when they track when your kid turns 18. How do you know that they track it? Because when your kid turns 18, you stop getting any damn extra money you were getting for that kid, don't you? If you were getting extra money because you had 5 dependents and then all of a sudden that changed and there's 4, they track that shit, right? They track it. So if they can cut your benefits because they know your kid turned 18, then the money that they're saving, not giving you in benefits, they should be able to use to give your kid a free state ID, and register your kid to vote. Right. Your son gets a selective service paper, 100%, right? They know when your kid turns 18. It should be an automatic thing that is done, because we should want more and more people to participate in our governmental process, not the opposite. So I want you to be thinking that even though there are a lot of things that are happening on the federal level that absolutely suck, I want you to remember that you have state government and you have local government where you can still be running for election. It is so much easier to win an election locally. There's less money needed. There's less door knocking needed, all of those types of things. Like, it's easier. And especially if you're in a small town or a different community, you can make that happen. And so be thinking about those positions. If you are concerned about education, get on your school board. If you are concerned about, your county, run for county commission, right? Run for city council, run for, your board of mayor and aldermen, your board of supervisors, whatever those positions are. You have the ability to make a difference locally that can help take some of the sting out of what this federal government is doing, right? And so sometimes we can't always eliminate the threat or the hurt or the unnecessary trauma, but if we can lessen it, that's also a win, right? That's also a win. So when you start to think about what are the things that you can do not forget your local and state things as well. Remember that New Jersey and Virginia both have statewide elections that are happening in just a few months. They are critical. Virginia has every single race that is actually being contested for the first time ever. Like, it's every single race is being contested in Virginia, and that is phenomenal, right? So this is the time, folks, to not get caught up, to not be walking around in fear, to not be over here freaking out. This is the time where you get to work. This is the time where you buckle down and make things happen. Okay. Those of you all who know me, you know that there are certain things that I just do believe. So give me a second and let me see if I can find it. Thank you. I knew I was going to be able to I recorded it myself, but I'm also going to play it, and I'm going to play it. And I want you all to listen and to hear it, because I think that this is something that we all need to remember. Okay. So give me a second. Whoops. Hold on. I'm going to turn up my volume. Listen to this, folks. You ready?
You earned it.
She shot an arrow at your head.
Well, at an apple.
Near your head. Sit down. Seneca, why do you think we have a winner?
What do you mean?
I mean, why do we have a winner?
Bella.
I mean, if we just wanted to intimidate the districts, why not round up 24 of them at random and execute them all at once? It'd be a lot faster. Hope,
Listen.
hope, hope. It is the only thing stronger than fear. A little hope is effective. A lot of hope is dangerous. A spark is fine, as long as it's contained.
A spark of hope is fine as long as it's contained. So that is President Snow from Hunger Games. I watched it again last night. I'm a Hunger Games girl. I am unapologetic for it. I listen, in a world of President Snows, be a Katniss Everdeen. Volunteers tribute. Like 100% volunteers tribute. But you have to remember what he says. You have to remember this. He says, why are we having the games? Because you need a winner. A winner gives them a little bit of hope, right? Because if we just wanted to scare them, we could just round up 24 of them and get rid of them at one time. It'd be much more effective, right? But thank you, Sissy. But he says, no, what we need to do is we need to give them a winner, because a winner gives them a little bit of hope. And he says a little bit of hope is effective. A lot of hope is dangerous. But it's not dangerous for us. It's dangerous for the dictators. It's dangerous for the people that are playing games with our lives. It's dangerous for the people that are so rich, right? They take something to make themselves throw up so they can continue eating, so they can taste everything. That's from the movie, in case you didn't know, right? It's dangerous for them. It's not dangerous for us. I want you all to think about this and understand that they are afraid that we will become unified and hopeful. They are afraid that we will become unified and hopeful. Y'all, why do you think the United States of America elected a black man for president twice, whose name was Barack Hussein Obama? Because hope is dangerous. Hope will change the status quo. Hope will overdo fear. Hope overdoes love, overdoes hate. Listen, it's not love that's more powerful than hate. It's hope. So when you leave this live, I want you to remember a couple of things. I want you to remember to be present. And if you need a practice to be present, just stop and notice 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can touch, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. Then I want you to start to think about, what are the things that you're focusing on? Where are you spending the majority of your time and energy? Are you spending it on the things that you can control, on the things that you can influence, or on everything else? Because control and influence is where you have your power. If you are spending the majority of your emotional currency on everything else, that's why you're either anxious, scared, or depressed. Because you're not focusing on the 2 areas where you actually have power, where you can produce change, where you can do something and walk in your power, in your existence, right? I'm just telling y'all, right? Start to figure out, you need to be spending 75, 80% minimum of your emotional currency on the things that you can control and the things that you can influence, because then you will have action items. Your first thing is, can I control this thing? If the answer is no, great. Next question, can I influence this thing? And if the answer is yeah, maybe, the next question is how? And what do I need to do to accomplish that? And now you have an action plan. Now you have a way to combat the things that are happening out in circle number 3. Because folks, what is in your circle number 3 is in somebody else's circle number 1 or circle number 2. It is not required for you to control or influence everything, right? Wendy Mendoza, how do you separate the intended hope on their part with reality, their controlled hope versus our achievement? So this is the thing. Hope doesn't have anything to do with denying reality, right? I can be aware of everything that exists right now. I can be aware of it. I can know that it is there. I do not have to give my energy to it, though. And I damn sure don't have to think about how much worse it could get. If I'm going to spend my time and my energy focusing on something, I'm going to be focusing on how good it can get, how much better it can get. I'm not even focusing on how, like how much we can stop the bad. Nope. I'm focusing on how much we can create good. Do you see the difference between those two things? Hope doesn't deny reality. Hope says, in the face of this reality, I know we are better than this. And I'm going to focus on doing what I need to do to accomplish that. And I don't need to see the wins to know that they are happening. Guys, I don't see everything that happens in people's lives when I get off of here. I don't know everything that happens with people, right? And I don't need to. All I do is trust what I put out to accomplish what it's meant to. And then that's it. Because guess what? I can't control the outcome. All I can do is influence the outcome. And once I've done that, I'm done. Nothing else is up to me. Right? I have hope that is grounded in reality, right? Because I'm not walking around ignorant and pie in the sky. But that hope is what brings us to the place where we can kind of get settled, get grounded, and then develop a plan of action and do something. And this is where you've got to be asking yourself, what am I doing? Wendy, you're welcome to join the panel if you want to ask the question. You're welcome to join the panel if you want to ask the question. Okay. So I have some asks of everybody. I very, very rarely have an ask when I get off of a live. First, I'm going to answer your question. I will probably not be live again tonight, but I might. Okay. The kids have therapy in just a little bit, and I need to get them ready for therapy. And then they have physical therapy. I have regular therapy this afternoon. And it will depend upon that and how that goes as to whether or not I come back this evening. So just letting you all know that. But the asks that I have, big ask is everyone to go to whatever your favorite podcast platform is, whether it is Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Audible, iHeartRadio, Podbean, any of those places, whatever your podcast platform is. Please take a moment to follow the podcast, The Dani Cook Show. Take a moment to download episodes, listen to episodes, because I'm in the process of rebuilding the podcast because it was in the top 10% of the globe, and then in March and April, I did travel. And so I wasn't able to be live. I wasn't able to record as much as I was. Yep. I'm on Spotify too, Audra. I love that, Rachel. Thanks. So those are things so that's a big focus right now. That is a very big focus of mine, is to get podcast episodes out and to get people rebuilding them and get back up into the top 10% of global podcast listens. So that is my one big ask of everyone. And you found me on Spotify. Love that. Thank you, N8 Roxy. So again, it is the Dani Cook Show. That is the podcast. Make sure that you are grounded. Start doing some work. Get into the link tree. Make sure that you are sharing information. Do not get upset about this bill. Listen, especially if you are one of my subscribers. If this damn bill passes and I see you lose your shit in the Discord, I'm coming for you. Thank you, Linda Sims. Because listen, when you are rooted and grounded, you are unshakable, even in breaking environments. They are two different things. Christine, the Rantings of Dani podcast is my old one from about 6-7 years ago. The Dani Cook Show is the new up-to-date podcast. Thank you, Astrid. I appreciate it. So hear me when I say that to you all. Do not let what is happening in Congress shake you from the work. You need to be aware of it. You need to know what's happening with it. And then you need to be doing the work, because we have midterms, people, in about 15 months. And that is not a lot of time to prepare for an election. July, August, September, November. July, August, September, October. 5, about 16 months. Real talk, 16 months. That's not a lot of time. Okay. So those are the things that I'm going to ask you to do today, specifically is about the podcast. Make sure that you are, following me across all the socials. It doesn't matter, Edith. Podbean is what feeds Spotify. Thanks, Audra. I appreciate that. So let me just say this. Florida, yeah, we are going to do a podcast, Kat. Let me just say this to the person in the chat that said Florida canceled midterms. No, they didn't. They canceled a 2025 mayoral election, but midterms are in 2026. And, that's not something that Florida can just do. So I just want everyone to know and understand that. So it's important, folks, to know what we're sharing when we're sharing it, so that we, right. And Miami just canceled this year. Right. It's just Miami and it's just this year. So, I think it's really important. Okay. I got a message from your mom. I got it. Okay. I appreciate you guys for hitting 300,000 likes. I love that. Thank you for getting on Spotify. I really do appreciate you all. If you have ordered art from me, Bella, I need you to do me, well, Dominic, you're faster. This yellow one right here and that one over there. If you, yeah, Cam, I am, because the kids have physical therapy. So if you have placed an order for art, I'm going to reach out to you. I'm going to give you a time frame. Lisa, yours will go out now. So this one, just so you all know, this one is Lisa's piece. Oops, hold on. I'm choking myself. So this piece is Lisa's that's already done. And that will get mailed out to her. Dad jokes. I think you had asked for one that was similar. I did a different design on yours, and so I'm still working on it. It'll be done this week. So it's kind of cool. It's a little bit different. So anyway, these are going out. So if you're somebody else that has asked me about artwork. Yep, Sandy, I'm going to do that as well. Sunflowers are your favorite. Love that. All right. So that's it, folks. I've got decks and stuff going out. Kaylin in the Discord right now. I'm setting up. Do I sleep? Yes, but not a lot. So let me just say this. I'm going to set up a page. The easiest way for me to do this is to set up a page where people can see sample pieces of artwork. And then they can place orders for them there and give time frames. So that's the best thing for me to do right now. Thanks, Butterfly Freedom. So for those of y'all wondering, like, what happened. So I love doing my artwork. I just haven't been able to do it in a long time. And then I don't have the TikTok that I'm on right now monetized. And so I was like, all right, let me see if anybody wants some art for a week and make up the difference in the cash. You know, I just trust. Listen, y'all, we put out really good energy here. We put out really good energy, good work, good hope, good love, and good accountability. I did do all the pieces behind me. Yep. These 3 pieces I did do. All 3 pieces for those of you guys over here. Those 3 pieces. Yep. I did all 3 of them. I did do all of those. And so I trust the universe to take care of me. Yeah. Yeah, it did need my spirit did 100% need my art. Appreciate it, Sandy. Yeah, LaMonica, they're still reviewing the other account. Yeah. These 3 are 3 of my favorites that are done in black and white. Yeah. So, all right. That is all that I have. You found me on Pandora. I love that. I love that. I love that. She found me on Pandora. So yeah, I appreciate you all. You love the tree behind me. Yeah. So I have paintings that are done like this tree. Yeah. So this for me, my art helps me. You need a 12 o'clock. I don't know what a 12 o'clock is. This is my backup account, Kaylin. This is my backup account. So follow this one for sure. All right, guys, listen, I love you. I appreciate the support greatly. Check out the podcast. I may or may not be back this evening because I have therapy and the kids have physical therapy today. If I'm not back this evening, I will be back tomorrow and we will be digging in. I have some court things that I want to go over with you. I want to go over some court decisions. I want to go over some depositions, and some different things like that. And then I want us to get into some really meaty work where we can make some things happen. And so I want to give you a mission. I want to give you things that you can share within your communities and on your social media networks. I want to give you some things that you can use when you're contacting your legislators. And writing your op-eds. Okay. So I appreciate you all very much. Have an amazing day. Yep. Rachel, I heard you say that.